Hi Kiwi, and welcome back to a new episode of Air Memories of Old. We're going to be going to explore this new northern temple at the roof of the world, and likely find our last piece of I think they were called relics. Well, inevitably I think contest against the void potentially. Now I need to see, is my recording software picking up the toolbar here? It doesn't look like it was. I noticed, unfortunately, in the last couple recordings, the screen for some reason was getting cut off by the recording software, and I think it was because I didn't have the recording set to the window of this game. Rather, it was honestly, maybe I just hide my toolbar. 1 second. Sorry about that. I was trying to see if I could hide the toolbar because I noticed in the last couple of recordings that the toolbar was actually hiding the bottom section of the screen, and I do believe that was just an error on my part, having the recording software not doing full screen capture instead of window capture. So I've hopefully fixed that. Just put the food here. Now we have more food than we know what to do with. So hopefully that's resolved. We will see, certainly. But this is our last temple. Let's explore it. And I'm going to ramble about magic systems today because we kind of briefly talked about bending, I suppose. So I'll go a little bit more into that. I think to start, why I want to bring this up is because I think Avatar: The Last Airbender has a really cool magic system. They don't necessarily, at least in the first series, or kind of being ignored, they don't really address where these powers strictly come from, and it is a little bit, I would say almost disappointing that it is kind of a Deus Ex Machina for the origin story of these powers. Granted, they are given by a spirit creature, like a very powerful, presumably powerful, worldly spirit creature. So it's in keeping with the world as we know it. It's too dark to see anything, but it would be cool if like this is something like built in or more fundamental than that. I think within the world it works. But what I want to bring up is kind of like my set point for like why I want to talk about what I'm talking about. I'm thinking about an anime called My Hero Academia, and I know that is a show that you have heard recommended to you by a friend of yours, Kiwi, and with good reason, especially early on in its I would say its first 2 seasons. It's very strong at what it does, presenting the story about what it means to be a hero and inspire others around you, and do what is right, not just because it is right, but because it is something that compels you. You are compelled to help others, not by virtue of how it could benefit you in the long run, simply because it is a good thing to do and a thing you want to do. Okay, so it looks like we have to find a certain symbol we're aiming for. I'm gonna guess the symbol is correct if this rises up, perhaps? Or, well, it's fallen down now. What? This is the... Let's see, a healer of sorts closing the forbidden gates to eternity, a lone giant swimming from the star to the northern light, singing about our world to the great dreamer. So... I don't necessarily know what symbols I'm supposed to raise up here, but it felt like that previous one was the correct one, so let's put this here. Or not. I can't back out of this easily, apparently. I guess, for some reason, the back out button is not B, it is A, so it's the same as the interact button, and that's throwing me off for a little bit. Let's see what other symbols we can have here. That doesn't seem likely. Maybe all of these different combos match up in a certain way, but it feels like that center one was the correct one, given the symbols we've been looking for. Actually, maybe we have it. I think that might have been the only piece we were missing, given how these kind of match up, but let's confirm. Oh, you know what? I get it. We're looking at the different symbols and trying to match them all up. I got it. So what we need is whatever matches with this. All right, it looks like there's going to be a lot of turning these pillars, but I think what's going to happen is we're going to activate 4 different images worth of nodes and get stories of whatever these symbols represent. So I think this should be the one that lines up with the wings. There we go. Okay. I think this one probably represents the dreamer, given it looks reminiscent of the shape, maybe? Well, we'll get the game will give us the context soon enough, I'm sure. Anyway, so the reason why I bring up My Hero Academia specifically is because it has a very interesting power system, namely, quirks, as they're called, are based on kind of biological functions of these people. The quirks are genetically linked, traits that are heritable traits too. And the way this world uses these abilities, it's kind of like, it's like a muscle. You can train it. The more you use it, the more you get tolerance for it. But the abilities through this through the characters are kind of, they have kind of, I would call them almost penalties. They can exhaust you the same way if you overuse a muscle, you get tired out. If you overuse your voice, you strain your voice and lose the ability to speak. I definitely can relate to that one. And so a good example, I would say, is, which symbol have we not done yet? I think we did that one. So for example, there's a, I mean, the simplest one is there's a character who, if he overstrains his muscles, he can cause permanent damage to his arms. There's a character who has the ability to control ice, and if he overuses his ice, he ends up starting to get hypothermia. To counterbalance this, he has another ability that allows him to use fire. He was kind of, actually kind of a eugenics project by his father, which is actually a huge plot point in terms of this character dealing with familial traumas and the effects of bad parenting, which is honestly, again, I would say almost one of the biggest strengths of the second season, culminating in a phenomenal fight scene that's amazing. It has some phenomenal sakuga. A mystery and a gift giver, the reason we are at all, and the one who... Wait. A mystery and a gift giver, the reason we are at all, and the one who taught the ancient tribes. We long to meet you again. So maybe that's the symbol of the creator? The center of our world, a light bringer and a passage maker, leading our minds to the realms of dreams and back to the rhythm with the tides of dusk and dawn. So that is the dreamer. That one's the dreamer right there. So I think we're just seeing, I guess there are 4 principal gods in this world, it seems. Forever a guardian of dreams and peace, a fighter and a hunter, trapping nightmares in his library of forbidden scrolls. So this was the I can't keep track of the gods, I guess, but this was the scroll god. That one was the rock god. We had the god that had well, we had the god that was like the slit in a mountain piece, or like, I guess, yeah. So anyway, I'll just stick to what I was talking about. So it's down to the 2 of us now. So we basically, what I want to get at is, I think I like magic systems that aren't just there are powers and now you can use them. I like that they have like a thought of how they build off of the character's inherent traits, or how their powers affect those characters, and then how those powers can kind of have to interface with the world around them. So I think probably the best example from this series that I really like, when I first saw it, I was like, this is a really fleshed out and cool idea to explain how a power works in the world. And this was a character who had the ability to go incorporeal and slide into physical objects, like basically pass through physical objects. The nature of his ability, because he goes incorporeal and things can pass through him, it's more than just physical objects. It's light, it's sound waves pass through him, photons pass through him. So when he goes incorporeal around the head, and he originally doesn't really have an ability to control all of those things, so when he goes incorporeal, his entire body goes incorporeal, so he would go blind and deaf at the same time. He had no sensory inputs whatsoever, so he is constantly playing kind of a prediction game. He has to predict where he would pass through and how long he'd have to maintain his ability to pass through that object. Now, conveniently, the way they kind of wrote around this to make it a little bit like the power even usable in the first place is the fact that this character, when he undoes his ability, whatever structure he's in kind of spits him out, like displaces him, and it doesn't cause any physical damage to those 2 things around it. But basically, if you picture it, it's like he just gets like shot out of the whatever structure he is at relatively fast pace, and he uses that to kind of get around very quickly. It's kind of cool. He kind of like jumps in and out of objects to travel faster. So like he springs into the ground and then shoots out of the ground, falls down and goes into the ground. It's a cool way to interact with his powers and play with it in a creative way, but also give his powers a tangible weakness that he has to figure out how to overcome. When the creator made the world, he woke the gods to care for it. First swam the Watcher of the Veil high in the skies, a mighty guardian against the black cold endlessness, forever singing soothing songs to the great dreamer, lest she awaken from the dream of our world. So like I was talking about the ability to fly, and I was thinking like there are so many different ways to create the ability to fly. Changing your bodily density, changing the effect of gravity on you, and influencing gravity as a whole. Changing air currents around you, having it be kind of a project, you propel some sort of force from you. There are so many different ways to interact with that base power, and it's, to the creator of the character writer or the character designer in that regard, how we end up playing with it. I'd probably use my lantern to see what's even in this. This definitely seems like kind of a culty chamber. Is there anything in here, actually? There must be something, because I'm able to platform a bit further. Let's go up this way and see if there's anything over here. And so, well, never mind. I guess we're going again. Unfortunate. They got me. So, when I think about flight, I think about, well, what are the limitations of the ability to fly? If we go by bird logic, certainly there's an upper limit to how much that body can carry. Can you only carry your own weight and maybe like the weight of clothing or something? And as you train the ability to fly, you can carry heavier objects? Or are you genuinely limited to just your immediate area around you? Is there an upper limit to how much you can levitate? Or is it just you constantly travel upwards and anything that is alongside you gets brought with you, or like on top of you gets pushed upwards, for example? It's a lot of like little I like magic systems that have thought put into them, and they're not just this character has the power and they're going to use the power. And certainly that adds 2 layers of creativity, because it's not just the power, it's how do you use that power to fight or solve problems with the limitations that you have. Like, I think when this is something that I'll harp back onto the aspect of Avatar: The Last Airbender, perhaps, insofar as like Toph, she is blind, but she learned how to use her blindness to enhance her earthbending, because she sees with her power. She can sense vibrations in the ground and use them to direct her actions in combat and otherwise, but she's still limited because anything that's flying off the ground that she can't hear, or more specifically sense with her feet, she is weak against. Like when they're in the desert area and they're being attacked by these flying buzzard wasps or whatever they're called, like she has a clear challenge against her that she has to overcome, and she can't very easily do so, so she has to depend on her friends. And I think that's another like really important thing to point out with the crew of the Avatar, is that these are all people who depend on each other for various things. Sokka comes up with plans. He's not just he is a warrior. He's not their strongest member, I think, but Sokka is constantly devising plans. And again, I think he kind of gets underappreciated for what he does and contributes to the team. He may not be able to enact those plans all the time, but he is often kind of the tactician of the group. Sometimes his plans are really stupid. I feel like this is, I gotta be quick. Am I mistaken? This is fun, but it doesn't seem to be producing anything of value. Oh, hello. I see. So I need to follow a pattern here. So bottom left. Oh, okay. Huh. Now I do this. And then I do this. Yes? No? Oh. I push this button. Then I push this button. Oh, I'm dumb. Why was I going to... Okay. Kiwi, wow, I'm stupid. I somehow was pushing this up into the right one over here, like that was the button it wanted. Let's see. Did that... Oh, it opened the door. Okay. Turns out that puzzle was extremely easy to solve. I am just remarkably stupid. That should not... Oh my goodness, that should not have taken as long as it did. I'm feeling a little embarrassed. Anyway, what I want to... I guess the entrance gets frozen shut. There's no leaving now. I suppose the point I'm trying to make is... They use Toph's blindness to not necessarily define her character, but it is fun to see how she learned to adapt her personal circumstances and grow from them. And it's not just that, like, it also is what leads her to be able to develop metal bending, become the first metal bender. And how? She could sense the earth. She's so in tune with her earth bending because she uses it as like a basic sense for her, that she's able to sense things within the metal, the earth, the components of earth within the metal, to bend to her needs. And I just think that's really, really cool. And it's like, comparatively, there are superheroes that are blind as their superpower. Daredevil's the first one to come to mind, and I need to emphasize the fact that I know very little about Daredevil. I remember watching the movie that came out like a decade or two ago. And that's about all the experience I have with that franchise. But certainly there is a bit of a trope where characters who are blind are basically not blind at all because they somehow can still see. And certainly Toph falls into that trope, but I think she's done so much better because, again, her real power is her earthbending, and she uses earthbending as an extension of herself. Whereas in a lot of these other hero tropes, the characters just have like heightened senses. They can see by smell, sound, usually sound, and that kind of compensates for their blindness to the point where it doesn't actually feel like they are blind at all. And that can be fine, but it just feels a little bit disappointing in terms of what they could have done with that character. I guess what I'm trying to say is if you make a character blind or have a disability, let them have that disability. Show how it informs their experience in the world and how it makes them have to adapt to their given situation. Don't immediately undo that by giving them just heightened senses or something that completely trivializes the ability. And don't limit their character growth by just undoing the disability that you give them. Let them make it a strength. Let them use it for personal growth. So I don't know, that's a little bit of a tangent, but certainly I think it's something worth recognizing. I think we've been in that door. We haven't been in this one over here. Let's see what's over here. I'm not quite sure where those glowing lights that we just activated lead to, but is this door open? No, not yet. Oh, something weird is happening there. Oh no. Oh no. This is like nightmare flashes. There we go. There's like a single frame of camera angle where we just zoom in aggressively. That's funny. Definitely not intended. All right, so I think what I need to do is figure out where those glowing lights that we just produced are actually winding up. They should be maybe going... Presumably they're interacting with something over there, but I don't have an easy way of getting there. There's a new door open maybe? Or maybe it was back in that chamber and I just missed something. Get up here somewhere? No, not obviously. Oh wait, here we go. Okay, I bet it leads to something over here if I go up these stairs. But I don't know. So like I love these sort of thought experiments, if you want to call them that, where you have a power to work with, but you also have the limitations around that power. And I'm trying to think, like, for example, communication with animals. Like, just because you can communicate doesn't mean you can necessarily understand each other. I think that's a great example. For example, if you have to find mutual understanding with those you communicate, just like with human interactions. So if you have the ability to communicate with animals and you're asking them to do tasks for you, they might not actually do those tasks because, well, why would they want to put themselves in harm's way for you? Like, I feel like Aquaman, his whole communicate with fish and aquatic life, and mind you, I've never read the comics, so I could be ill-informed and misspeaking, but it at least from my brief expanses with the media he is in, it seems like they respect him out of his authority to being a king. But I would love it if, like, I feel like actually RuneScape probably has a good example of this, specifically RuneScape 3 actually. With necromancy, they went an interesting route. Rather than like binding the dead to your will and forcing them to act on your behalf, your necromantic strength comes from reaching mutual agreements and befriending the people in the afterlife and in the realm of the dead. And I think that's really cool that you like completely divert the typical trope of how necromancy works. Whale! Oh my goodness, look at his mouth. He's so happy. And you're gonna die once you give us stuff. I know how this works, but hello, friend. Oh my goodness, he looked... It is a whale, right? Or kind of whaley. Whatever. All right, let's talk. Come closer, little champion. Wait, no. Come closer, little champion. I won't ruffle your feathers. I am the Watcher of the Veil. I guard this world from eternity. I forget how they do it in Finding Nemo, but that's the route we're going for. But I have spent many years
years trying to close the rifts that threaten this world. Now, without the faith of your kind, my powers are almost gone. There isn't much left of the first dream of the great dreamer.
This is so annoying, Kiwi. I'm so sorry, but you're gonna have to deal with it.
The dream that we call our home. Did you know that the first dream brought forth the Creator? His only weakness was his tender spot for your kind, little human. To create you, he linked his heart to yours. But your hearts grew empty.
They grew the void.
Shocked by the emptiness dwelling in himself, the Creator ripped the void out of his heart. But time changes many things, and a new little champion stands before me. A human one, even. Listen now, champion. These are my last words. This is...
Okay, I'm not gonna do that, but like imagine if he just like,
I don't want to die, so I'm going to make these last words take freaking forever to come out of my face hole. Is the last fragment of the 3 Kara left in our care. There is only one step left now. Return the 3 fragments to the lighthouse in the very south, where your people have built a camp. It will show you what's next. It all rests upon your shoulders now, little champion. I will now die. Goodbye.
okay, bye. Bye, friend. Oh, okay, whale fireworks. Didn't expect that, but whales exploding into fireworks was not on my list of things that were gonna happen in this game, but sure, why not? Like, 2 out of 3 of the gods that we've encountered just kind of fell apart and, like, crashed with gravity. Ooh, okay, this is not how I expected this creature to look, but I'm into it. Eerie, creepy, I like it. Oh my goodness, Kiwi, I am very sorry for that, though. That must have been rough to listen to. I hope you enjoy listening to it, by the way, and well, you'll have to complain about it to me later. Achievement popped, still can't read it. Hopefully you can read it. I know in the last couple episodes you couldn't, and again, I apologize for that. It was something I missed. Unfortunately, without dual screen options, I can't fully proofread recordings as they're happening without tabbing out, and that messes with the audio and the video, probably both, frankly. But all right, we've got one more place to go. We're heading to the lighthouse, and I think we still got some time left on the recording, especially since I kind of like paused a little bit to collect my thoughts. So let's keep talking about superpowers while we're here. Let's see. So where would I take this thought experiment? So I don't know, like I feel like, again, RuneScape had a really cool idea for like how, I guess, with summons, I guess I can use Fairy Tail, the anime, as a reference too. Like with summoned creatures, is it just you commune with spirits and they act on your behalf without any thought, or do you have to kind of negotiate and like communicate and treat them like living beings and not expect them to do your bidding on a whim, but certainly like there's some give and take to it. You offer them home or power or some sort of like sustenance to survive. Like Pokemon, I think Pokemon anime does a beautiful job of that. You can't really get that in the video games nearly as much, but in the Pokemon anime, you're effectively using summoned creatures, and to maintain the trust and the partnership with these Pokemon, you have to feed them and work with them and cater to their needs beyond simply having them battle for you. Let's see, what's another ability? I mean, I feel like breathing underwater could be something we could dissect. Like, is it you develop gills and can do oxygen exchange like a fish can, or is it you create a pocket of air around you and you have a limited, it's not that you necessarily can breathe underwater so much as you just have an extra long time limit for how long you can stay underwater. think the lighthouse is this way. Or is this, are we passing it right here? No, that's the temple, so lighthouse should be directly to our south, I think. So over here? There we go, okay. We're heading in the right direction now. And certainly even if you can breathe underwater, what if you have a crippling fear of drowning? Or maybe not drowning anymore, but you have a crippling fear of what swims under the water, thalassophobia. I mean, like, oh my goodness, I would hate to have the ability to breathe underwater because I would never use it. I am absolutely terrified of deep sea. I've said this a number of times. Oh, hey, there's a tablet over here. We've probably found this before, but it doesn't hurt to check. I found a fox, if nothing else. All right, what have you got to say?
In the beginning there was the dreamer, asleep in cold eternity. She dreamed all there is. She dreamed a veil, and behind the veil she dreamed the creator and the world, modeled from a memory of home. The creator danced into the world, and there he breathed the clouds and sang the sun and moon into being. As he danced between the clouds, he took 4 steps, and so made the lands of the north, west, south, and the east. Then he formed the mountains and filled the seas with water from the clouds, and from earth and water he made animals so land and sea would be alive. From stardust and eternity he made gods to walk the lands and look after the world.
That's cool. Oops. I keep trying to jump before I leave the tablet. I wish that it was a little bit better with context. When I'm not facing the thing, it doesn't try to make me read it, but oh well. And we need to head slightly this way. Yep. Lighthouse should just be through these clouds now. So I mean, and then you could also consider, okay, well, is your ability to breathe limited to certain types of water? Can you not, like, if you tried to breathe into chlorinated water, would you, like, poison your lungs, for example, because it, like, whatever you do to breathe underwater, just like the chlorine interacts with it? Like, it's those sorts of things. Like, I like power systems that have limitations because limitations drive creativity. I mean, I think JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is a brilliant manifestation of that situation. Like, stand powers can feel a little bit overpowered, especially for our main characters, but sometimes they also just force characters to be super creative with how they use their abilities. Sometimes in very weird ways, like turning your tooth into a jellyfish to avoid drinking a man's urine. That is an actual plot point. I'm not going to expand on that further, but I mean, it is a bizarre adventure to say the least, Kiwi.
Hi, Ak. I'm glad you are back. So you visited the last caretaker? You are truly amazing. Did you know Erin went on an expedition? I knew she would. Call it Mother's intuition, or influence, I guess. I hope she will take after you as well. If we are lucky enough to be around for so long in the first place, something is wrong, I feel it, like the world holds its breath. Talk to Medvin about what happened at the last caretaker. See if he can make sense of everything.
I'm going to talk to everyone except for Medvin, and we'll probably save him for the next episode, assuming we're coming up on time soon.
Hi again, Orc. I'm so thankful that Erin is back. I must say she was very thorough in her field trip. Pardon me, to think that she paid such attention to detail. So I struck a deal with her. If she promises to tell me first, she can go play along the island's outskirts. Who knows what Erin might achieve one day? She might even become a guardian of the Outerlands in no time, or search for ancient scrolls like your mentor. But I can feel the disquiet in the air, you know. With luck, these dark and strange things will go away, and the lands will find peace again. Actually, I think you better talk to Medvin. You two know most about what's going on, and he told me he wants to see you.
You can see me right now. I'm standing directly in front of him. I'm just not talking to him yet.
It was a great adventure. You think so too, right? I was all the way to the other side of the island, and I discovered lots of stuff. Dad was kind of mad at me when I got home again. I had to promise to tell him when I want to explore. It's not as fun when they know I'm exploring. I'm old enough to go on adventures by myself. Next time I might take the skyboat and go to faraway places, but you can't tell them I told you, okay?
I will definitely tell them. You seem too young, but I think they're kind of supporting your explorative nature. Maybe just do with caution. Your parents would be distraught if you got hurt. All right, Medvin, what have you got for us? Okay. Ooh. All right. Can I do this voice today? Let's try it.
I don't have any more clues, I'm afraid. The cave in the Black Rocks, Kara's light, temple's opening up again. It's all very vexing. You met with the last caretaker, at least? For some reason, it feels like your pilgrimage... For some reason, it feels like it's your pilgrimage that became my most important task, not my own. The world isn't right. Snow creeps south, and animals are found dead, and you are different somehow. Like you are glowing, but not with light, more like a presence or warmth. and yet the world itself seems to have grown colder.
Probably because I killed all its caretakers by inheriting this warmth, you know? It sounds like they were all on their last legs, though.
Kara prayed by the lighthouse to seek her answers in the old days. It's your turn to do the same now. I'll meet you up there.
Will you actually?
I can't help you anymore. Go to the lighthouse and seek answers. I'll meet you there.
You guys have anything else to say?
I'm sure Erin will find her place for herself in this world, if everything goes well. You should talk to Medvin. He wants to see you.
Doesn't seem like they have anything too exciting to say.
Something is wrong, I feel it. Talk to Medvin and see if he can make sense of everything. Don't tell my parents, please. And can't we go together? It would be so awesome.
Alrighty, well, Kiwi, I think I'll call this an early episode, or maybe we're just about on time. I think with the sections I cut out, we'll be a little bit early. But let me know if you... I'm curious, Kiwi, what is your favorite superpower? Something tells me it's probably tentacle summoning because... Oh my goodness, Kiwi, we were in the car ride today driving to your friend's house, and you just started going on a tangent about how you think, like, images of tentacles creeping through windows to, like, come grab people are some of your favorite images. You think they're kind of funny and really exciting, and I'm just like, my girlfriend might be kind of weird. But we both already knew that. Anyway, Kiwi, I hope you've enjoyed watching, and if you're awake, I hope this is helping you fall asleep. If you're sleeping, I hope you're sleeping well. In the next one, I get the feeling we'll be on the last episode of the series, so I hope you've enjoyed it, and if nothing else, it's been a nice, chill, relaxing series to kind of hang out to. So I'll see you in the next one, and probably the finale. Look forward to it. See you then, love. Take care.